All right, a very good morning once again and welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Romeo Busiku. It's a beautiful, beautiful Friday and it's a joyous mood right here at the NMG offices at the Kampala Serena Conference Center Hotel. My name is Romeo Busiku. As it is, we are getting into another great conversation. We want to talk about the plight of musicians during this COVID-19 pandemic. Since we instituted a lockdown, many have been wallowing in self-pity. That is the right word. And as it is, many have decided, you know what, since I'm not doing anything at home, why don't I join politics? Yes, we've seen a slew of artists try to join politics, but will that addition have a lasting impact on our political sphere in Uganda? That's what we are going to be discussing, the impact of COVID-19 on the artists. And when the artists were forced to join politics, what will their lasting impact be on the political sphere in Uganda right here? I do have Andrew Kaggwa, an arts and culture journalist who also works with the Daily Monitor. My good brother, sorry. A very good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on Morning at NTV. It's been a while. I missed you, bro.
Yes, it's been a while. Yes, just imagine. Like, I think we had this whole thing going on. Like, we were quite very hot on topics. And
every Friday, we had a DJ, we were doing some music, but then Corona hit, and then all we were talking about were the body bags left, right, and center, which is a really sad story. But help me understand, how have you navigated the ordeal posed by the COVID-19 pandemic? How have you been able to navigate such barricades?
When I usually tell people that I do not listen to the mainstream artists, I listen to the artists very many people try to ignore, but they are very talented people. So when COVID hit, those are the people I was thinking about most, because the mainstream artists kind of, they make us believe they do have the money. But that artist that will have a show at the National Theatre, that artist that will have a show somewhere, those are the people I was thinking about, because I knew when shows are not happening, these people are basically not working. But then online shows happened.
Yes.
One of the things I think the lasting impacts of COVID on the Ugandan music is going to be a fact that fans started loving music for being music. When it comes to COVID and those live shows that have been happening online, one of the things that have been happening is you need to be an artist that knows how to perform live. Like, if you're not a good live performer, there are chances you're going to struggle, because many people have been trying to put up online shows and they were looking for a person that can sing, a person that can play guitar. It becomes so easy for, say, Blankets and Wein online to book you to perform for their online show when you can play your own guitar, when you can play your own piano.
True.
So people that can perform live have come out winners, and they are still winning.
So before we talk about the issue of artists joining politics, there's also another construction exercise that was happening in Bwebaje to put up some kind of a building, a Hollywood kind of setting for Ugandans, a Hollywood kind of settings. Help me understand more about that.
They are trying to call it a headquarter. I find the name problematic. Okay.
Do we have a building already? Is it construction? What is happening?
A lot is happening. A lot is happening, because I've been to the structure and I've seen the auditorium is almost ready.
Okay.
They are trying to do some sort of a studio. They are trying to have a home for all performers where musicians can feel at home, filmmakers can feel at home, theater practitioners can feel at home, and of course even all the other sorts of artists. But my problem with that is, where does that leave the National Theatre, which many of us have always known as the home,
which also has its own limitations,
which has a lot of limitations. And then I do not really understand who is going to be owning that new home. When I talk about owning, I know they will say artists own it, but will the government hand be felt in that new home or in that other home, the way we kind of feel it at the National Theatre? Because trust me, a friend of mine wanted to put a show at the National Theatre, and I remember he had one of the poems he was supposed to recite was called Ben Chiwanuka. Like it's quite a very political show. And he couldn't, he held it the very first time because they were sloppy. So he held it the very first time. They saw the content and they were not happy. So they told him, you're not having a second show. So I'm asking myself, when it comes to this other home that people are coming up with, are we going to have this hand? Are we going to feel that hand when it comes to the kind of content you can do, the kind of content you can showcase? But besides that, I'm happy with as many homes. Like, I also have a dream of starting another home.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that I'm not even concerned that there is another home that is coming about. I want to see more homes being built, at least in every district. If you could have a creative, home created for every young for the young generation in every district. All the 142 districts, if you have a home, you'll be able to actually nurture the talent in those respective districts. But then how many people are going to be ferried to this Webaja home, and how many people can ferry themselves to the National Theatre?
Initially, if UNCC actually knew their roles, because now, every now and then, I usually feel like they kind of forget what their roles are, but UNCC is supposed to act like UCC acts when it comes to communication. Like, UNCC should be able or should be in place to have district or regional UNCC centers. And in these centers, people will bring their, say you have a center in Masindi, many of the people around there are bringing their plays to Masindi. And if the play is good enough, it can actually be called up to come to the National Theatre, and they will even help produce it, or they will even help change a few things to make it better. But at the moment, I feel like UNCC is just a place, which is a place opposite the Parliament, which is really hurting. Like, how such a body, such an institution for artists being just a place.
I feel your pain, because it's reminiscent with most of the artists in Uganda. They've been saying what is happening at the National Theatre isn't good at all. But then let's talk about the main issue, which is artists who are grappling during COVID-19. Help us understand how many of those artists have joined politics.
Like, I can't give you I can't be certain when it comes to the number, but I know Hildeman. But Hildeman has been trying to get into politics. I think since Bobby Wein, or even before Bobby Wein, but I think since Bobby Wein. But yeah, we know Bobby Wein. Bobby Wein has been there longer
Robert
than
Chagulanyi.
Then we know Jose Chameleon.
Yes.
We know Geoffrey Lutaya, the wife Irene Namatovu. There is Ragadi. Just the number is big. Like, they keep growing. Walukaga. People.
So what is, Mr. Mosho? So what is prompting all these artists to come out right now to join politics?
I think it's okay. Everyone will give you
with a
reason.
Lot of force and vigor.
Everyone will give you a reason why they're joining, but I think the biggest reason is, one, Chagulanyi took his shot and he didn't miss it. So many of them are looking at themselves like mini Chagulanyis. That's the rough way of it. But
let's address mostly those artists who joined in 2020.
Many of them are looking at themselves and they're like, we have the influence he has. Probably some of us have even been singing.
So they are following his footsteps.
So they are trying to follow his footsteps.
Right.
And then the others, it's to forge a comeback, because I know very many that are joining politics but are not going to stand. For example, I was told, not Geoffrey Lutaya, I was told Ronald Mainja joined, but he's not going to stand. And I'm thinking one of the reasons he's joining is to be on the better side of the public. You know, I usually tell people that after 2016, when artists came out, 12 artists came out and did a song to Bonga Nawe, the music industry has never been the same. Like, the effects of that song have been growing ever since. Like, we had to Bonga Nawe, and after it was done, there was a talk of a boycott, which boycott didn't actually happen, but people did lose their musical status.
Yes.
And the reason they lost their musical status is because many of them were afraid to do music because they thought the public was going to shun them. When they were afraid to do music, people like Shiba, people like Wein were doing music because there was a vacuum. And by the time these people thought of doing songs, people had kind of moved on. The likes of Bebeku that were kind of aggressive came out with their songs and people abused them and continued coming out with songs. Somehow found their rhythm as time went on. But many other artists were buried because they were part of Tubonga Nawe. So this has been something that has kept going on, and then it's more dangerous that Tubonga Nawe had Bebe Cool and it didn't have Bobby Wine. Trust me, I believe if Bobby Wine and Bebe Cool were on that song, the situation right now would have been different.
So besides music, what impact will these artists have on our political sphere?
I don't believe artists are going to have a very big impact on the political sphere, but I believe politics is going to have a very big impact on music. One, I don't know if you could share my thought, but I'm one of those people that believe that the industry is going down. Like right now we can debate.
Absolutely.
We can debate on which the lead song is. We didn't debate that much in, say, in 2006. In 2006, you used to be a high school kid and someone would come and tell you, Fire Anthem is the thing, and everyone would agree Fire Anthem was the thing.
Yes.
Like right now, someone can say, so which one is the top song? And each one of us in this room would come up with a totally different song.
Yes.
Which shows you that, one, there is no hit song that is not contested. Like, there is no definitive song that we feel has a lot of energy, say Fire Anthem had. Today we have songs that came out in March, but we do not even know where they are.
But why don't you think these artists will have an impact on our politics?
One is because many of them are just trying to get in. When it doesn't work, they will go back into oblivion.
Wait,
there are more chances.
It's
most
about
of them.
money, like an option. Like, I'm not making money now in music, so let me join politics because it's an avenue.
It's partly true. There are people that are getting into politics because music is no longer working for them. There are very many of those. And music is not working for some people, not simply because they are doing bad songs, but because of the atmosphere they've created. Right now, it's so hard to perform in Kampala because you need to either be for them, for the people, or against the people. There are some people that cannot perform in some places. Now, regardless of how many songs you have, but if you cannot even perform in some places because either those people hate you or they hate the ideology you represent, that's already problematic. So at the moment, it's not even just about the music people are releasing, it's about the atmosphere. The atmosphere is not very healthy for people to release music. And as I was saying, I'm one of those that believe we might be in this situation for even more than 5 years. I do not want to be too drastic, but I think we could be in this situation for about 10 years.
Why?
Maybe, why? One, we've divided the audience.
Okay.
It is going to take time to reunite that audience.
With the whole infighting in the music industry.
There is the infighting
Cool,
that was
Bobby
in
Wine,
the music industry
Eddie Kenzo, Bobby Wine.
that divided the industry,
All right.
but it did not divide it that much. But then they got divided on political ideologies.
I see.
One, it looks even so hard for an artist to stay on the fence. Like, there are artists that have chosen not to be in politics at all, but the artists that are into politics and are talking politics are more than them. Their voice is big enough that even when you choose not to be part of them, they will somehow cover up your noise, your song, the song you're trying to promote or do what, will be covered up with their noise. So we might be in this situation for way, way more years. I think it's kind of the end of an era.
Because it looks more like it's not the musicians influencing the political sphere, but rather politics infiltrating music. That's what it looks like. Absolutely.
When Bobby Wine came in, I think politics influenced, music influenced politics.
But now it's the other way
But
around.
at the moment, it's the other way around.
So how best can we, alleviate this problem and then go back to normalcy? Is there a chance?
I don't
10 years is a long stretch.
I don't believe. I think we are going to self-destruct and rebuild again.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe we are going to self-destruct. I believe this is going to go on. What happens, one, we've lost Chameleon. Like, whether Chameleon loses or wins, things are not going to be the same again.
He won't be the musician we used to know.
He won't be the musician we used to know. Like, those days Chameleon used to come. Like, one, I can tell you that when it comes to the music circles, there is not a time Chameleon can step in a place as long as that place is a musical place and it remains the same. Like, you feel his influence when he comes in. One, when he loses, because it's possible, we are going to start looking at him as an artist that tried and it failed.
All right.
One, we are going to doubt the whole celebrity thing. Like, okay, is celebrity even a big deal? If a celebrity can try and fail, even with all the influence, all the hits.
Could that be the reason they're even joining politics? Because we are talking about politics of identity, where the people look for a particular person, not an organization like a political party. Could it be the reason why you have people who assume they have a name trying to join politics because they think they can use that as leverage or a platform to campaign for their ambitions?
At one point, they actually didn't know that. And then Bobby Wine made it happen.
All right, open the door.
Bobby Wine opened the door. Actually, at that time, even the people that are in power did not believe a musician.
They laughed at him.
Yeah, they laughed at him because you remember there was a talk that he tried to get a party to endorse him, and all parties were like, really? And then he just went in, and right now every artist believes, okay, we have the influence and everything. But when many of these artists lose, especially the big ones, they are not going to be the same. Like, their influence, whether they like it or not.
Okay, let's bring out the big guns. Let's bring out the big guns. Bobby Wine, a.k.a. Robert Kyagulanyi, being an artist, do you think he has what it takes to trounce President Museveni, a general, a retired general, a historical of the NRM, in this election?
Okay, I was born when the general is the president, and for and for some reason I've not seen the general lose an election. Like, okay, I've seen people go to court to complain about things, but I've not seen him lose an election.
But with the whole momentum we are seeing, Bobby Wine saying he has what it takes, he said they registered success in the youth elections, even if we saw NRM win 79. But then they say they did get some people, some young people in this election. Do you think you can use that momentum?
You see, when people start talking about how they beat Nope at an election of the youth, when Nope is barely 4 weeks old, like I'm like really.
Okay, since you're not so savvy with politics, I'll get you away from that. I do not want
to get into that.
So let me get you back to the conversation of music, since you're not politically savvy. So let's talk about the musicians who are not in politics. We've been talking about musicians who are trying to make a living by joining politics. But what about those who say, I won't toe the line of politics. I'm just going to remain in my zone. In your opinion, as an arts and culture journalist, what advice do you have for those artists to continue navigating life and COVID-19 as we move forward? What can they do to continue eking a living right now without joining politics?
Right now, okay, one of the things artists have to know that life is not going to go back to normal. Like, the whole thing of the old normal coming back, we are not going back to the old normal.
Yes.
One artist,
so acceptance is key.
Yes. One, at the moment, they have to work on good music. Because people at home, like, there are more people that are still at home, either working from home.
Actually, many.
There are very many people at home.
Because many at the capital, so even if you reopen, they still stayed at home. Please go ahead.
Yes. So there are very many people that are still at home. And those people are trying to listen to music. Artists right now need to record good music.
Yes.
They need to record good music that we can listen to when we are streaming.
Yes.
And it is good to be listened to. I feel like they should even work on their performances. Like online performance is the thing right now, and I like what Feza
like they should be practicing right now.
Yes, and I like what Feza is doing, that they've even added a fee to it. Like right now you can do an online performance and people are actually paying for it. Like people should be looking into all these avenues to entertain people when they are at their homes. Of course, I think they should also look at the online field. Like there is a lot of money online, especially for people that are creating content, like artists.
You might not benefit financially from the online concerts, but at least you'll be visible
to
the people who are your fans.
Even that you'll be visible.
Yes.
But
and relevant.
And there are still very many people that are paying for music. I personally pay for the music I stream. I know very many people that subscribe to Deezer, iTunes, Tidal.
Right.
All these people are paying money. These are avenues people can earn some money even when they are not on stage. Actually, it's the time artists get to learn that their music is much more than just that stage performance.
I see.
It's the time they get that background team behind. They get a team behind them, for that team to start looking for NTV to use their song maybe as a news jingle, because NTV will pay some money.
Indeed.
It's the time they start looking at music as much more than just a hit song.
So help us narrate some of the mistakes artists have been making during this COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown.
One of them is not releasing music because they believe, why should I release music that I'm not going to perform? And many of them, when they are not releasing music, they've let people like Zex Bidanjidanji, or there's this other girl from Swangs, Azawi. Yes.
Oh yeah.
These people have released music
and repeated.
And if you ask me, and then there is that other guy who did a song with Wein. And if you ask me, these are the people that have been running the
He's in Babon Forest, isn't he?
The guy who released a song with
something.
Yes.
What is Simu?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Like when it comes to these people have been running the industry because many people refuse to release music since they know there are no performances. But what if we do not get live performances until, say, after the elections? And it's so possible that we might not get live performances until then. But again, even if they wake up and they reopen and they're like, hey guys, you know what? Right now you can go back and perform. People will not be able to put up these shows because, one, they will be broke. Like the promoters, I don't believe a sponsor can give you money when they're also still recovering. Like bars have been closed, so the beer sponsors also do not have as much money. So this is the time you remain relevant, that if they open up, one, you will still be relevant. And two, you can make some money online right now.
So mistake number one, they are not releasing music. Mistake number two.
Mistake number two, I would say joining politics when you do not actually know what you're pushing.
Explain.
One, I've seen very many artists that are jumping on the Bobby Wein bandwagon as supporters. But you see, a lot of things comes with politics, and most of them I could say they are bad things if you're just an artist. Some of those bad things could be, say, the noob supporters will be very aggressive when they are pushing their message. And as an artist, you end up in that noob category that at times you wouldn't want to associate yourself with. At times I would think it would be safe for artists to stay out of politics if they have nothing to say. I don't believe that artists shouldn't get involved in politics. They should if they have something to say. But if you do not have anything to tell us or to tell the public, it's way better you stay out and you work on your music and you push it in the right way.
So, mistake number one,
not releasing
music. Number two, joining politics.
Number three, Number three, I wouldn't say I have a very big number three, but of course, number three is more like a collective one. Artists have allowed anyone who associates with them to speak for them. Like right now, it has so much that you will be on Spark TV watching, say, Livewire, and they are talking about situations that are damaging the art industry as a general. and they will go and speak to full figure to present an opinion about the industry. Like, it's a very big mistake that artists have let whoever gets the microphone or whoever gets the camera to actually speak for them.
Yeah. Let's talk about the role of the government. What can government do to help our artists during this very, very dire time?
I will start with what they shouldn't do. One, they shouldn't restrict or they shouldn't regulate. It's not their job.
It was suspended. Go ahead.
No, that's a suspension. Like, that's just a suspension. Like, you know how things happen in this country. Like, they suspend, you stop talking, and then it goes under the table, and before you know, like, hey guys,
it's been signed.
This thing is active. So,
but how feasible was that? Do you think it was a mistake in its making? The lone musicians.
It wasn't a mistake. Okay, I think I might be very arrogant when I say this. It wasn't just a mistake. It was there was a bit of stupidity.
Go ahead.
On one of the sides, because there was no situation where this could work. Like, art is the way of life. I keep saying that over and over. Art is the way of life. This kind of talk we are having can be art on another day, and you will not tell us, how did you create that? Did you get a license before creating that? Like, we are just talking, but I can just turn this into art when I want to. So what the government should do, they shouldn't try to regulate. They shouldn't try to put money in the pockets of specific artists. They should create ways that artists can make money. How do they do that? This
selective system of calling Chameleon, then you call Eddie Kenzo, then you call like 3 artists. They should call them as a collective music industry. They
shouldn't even call them. If they are to call them, they should be asking for their views. One, this industry just needs a few things that can work.
What do you need and how can we help?
Yes. Some of those things, personally, I feel there is a lot of money we are missing when it comes to our copyright collection, like collection channels. I feel like if we can strengthen the channels, like, I know artists are saying that the copyright law is not enforced, but how much enforcement can be done now? For me, I think the enforcement that can happen right now is saying TVX, you shouldn't be showing pirated movies because you're abusing someone's copyright. But there is no enough enforcement that can happen after that. When it comes to a CD guy pirating Bebeku's song, like, that CD guy will still pirate the song in his bedroom and will listen to it, and no one will even know he pirated it. But what can happen for artists to get money even when piracy is on? Because with the internet and computers and everyone having access to a software or something, piracy is here to stay. But how you can make sure that artists are actually making money even when piracy is here to stay is widen the channels you're collecting. There are flash discs that are coming into the country. I believe Uganda might be importing about 2 million flash discs. I don't know. That's just a rough figure. But what if you put a specific fee on each and every flash disc, and that fee goes to the copyright? Like, that would be a lot of money for an artist to get. What if you put a fee on each empty disc that comes into, or an empty tape, or like all these things that can actually have music, even phones themselves, if all these things that can have music get a specific fee on them, even laptops, so like all these things,
okay,
like there could be a lot of money to collect.
Let me talk to you about a major challenge, Andrew Kaggwa, that has been plaguing the music industry even before we had COVID-19. Even before we had government passing this law or even suspending it. You had the issue of artists fighting against fellow artists, the jealousy within the industry that forced even Jackie Chandiru to leave the country. She's in neighboring Kenya. When she was in the country, she was looked at as a small artist. In Kenya, she's being worshipped as the Jackie Chandiru, the legend. What happened? What causes this?
Jackie.
You're a small artist in Uganda. When you go to Kenya, Rwanda, you're huge.
I used to listen to Jackie when I was in high school, when she was part of Blue 3. And I would really wish Jackie stays in Kenya. Like,
that's our plan. She says, I'm not coming back unless there's a big project.
It's a good thing. And I remember telling one of the people in her management that I wish Jackie stays in Kenya. Because you see, the situation surrounding Jackie is that Jackie was once a big artist.
And she is a big artist.
She is a big artist by legacy. You see, you can only remain a big artist when you're releasing music constantly and people are bumping to that music. That's when people will keep inviting you for events. People will keep inviting you for what?
But why are we not seeing that support among artists?
That support is not coming because they have their focus elsewhere, even if they are meant to support fellow artists. Their focus is totally in a different place. Like an artist who used to probably throw thumbs up to a person like Jackie, right now is throwing their thumbs up to a person like Spice Diana. And when you look at it, Spice Diana actually needs that support probably more than Jackie, because Jackie was there, she did it. So today, people will kind of move their focus to another artist. So when Jackie tries to come back, it becomes so hard for her to come back because people expect her to bring the heat she brought when she was still with Blue 3, when she went solo. And right now, probably, she's not speaking the same language they were expecting her to speak, which means they will not receive her the same way they received her. But when she moves to Kenya, she will be a fresh artist. She will be starting all over. Kenyans won't have as many expectations as Ugandans, and it will be easier for her to start over. If she crosses over to Uganda, well and good.
Andrew Kaggwa, an arts and culture journalist with the Daily Monitor, many thanks for having made the time to speak to us. It's always an absolute pleasure. I enjoy talking to you. And that's it for this edition of Morning at NTV. It's been a beautiful week. A major shout out to Sandra Tunoburio, my studio director, Sebachi J, my producers, Arafat, my camera person, Kulubazi, and also Collins Hinamundi, my manager, that is Josephine Karunji. I hope you're doing so well this fine Friday morning. And it's been a beautiful show. Have yourselves a blessed day. Go out there and make it happen.